Hello everyone, thanks so much for being here after, I would say, that delicious lunch today. My name is Pham. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cellens. At Cellens, we're developing a novel diagnostic modality and machine learning to detect cancer non-invasively. So I would like to start by sharing with you an interesting fact about cancerous cells that you may not know, which is the fact that cancerous cells are actually feel softer, less adhesive than normal healthy cells. So physically, it feels different if you can touch it with a mechanical tool. And that's what Cellens is doing. We're using a mechanical probe that is 10,000 times thinner than the strand of human hair, and touching the cell surface and extracting biophysical property on a single cell level. And we use machine learning and AI to be able to train and validate our platform to differentiate cell coming from a tumor versus normal healthy cell. And this phenomenon applies to multiple solid tumor, but I'm gonna zoom in on our first clinical opportunity here in bladder cancer. This is a common cancer. Nearly 1 million people in the US right now has a prior history of bladder cancer. 60 to 80% of the time, they would see a recurrence in their bladder again, making this disease a very much like a chronic disease that requires constant monitoring of the bladder. And it's very costly. It costs the US healthcare system an upward of $11 billion. And this is what the patient are going through with bladder cancer. Again, after the initial diagnosis and treatment, they are now going through an endless visit to the urologist clinic where they're gonna do a cystoscopy, basically putting an endoscope into the urethra to visually see where's a tumor and lesion. And I don't have to tell everybody that it's painful and it's inconvenient and it's an expensive procedure, which is why it has a very high non-compliant rate. So patients don't really show up to do this procedure. And the most striking fact is actually there's only 10% positive result, meaning that 90% of the patients just going through this endless cycle with cystoscopy just to receive a negative test. So we asked the question, what if we could develop a high-performing, non-invasive test that could serve as a rule out and stratify the patient risk before they go into the urologist clinic, right? So that would help the urologist not only be able to see more patients, but see them at the earlier stage where the surgical treatment is still the most effective therapy. And they actually spend more time doing OR treatment and resection of the tumor than doing just an unnecessary cystoscopy, diagnostic cystoscopy. And our process is super simple. All we need is a voided urine sample, so pee in a cup and then ship it out to a centralized lab where we invented the whole method of collecting the cell from the urine, scanning it with atomic force microscope, and our own machine learning algorithm software to differentiate the cell and give back a result to the urologist with a binary yes and no result. We already conducted a clinical study with 2 hospitals, UW Seattle and Dartmouth Medical Center, on the first 68 patients for the same patient population that we're gonna launch the test for. We compared with standard of care, cystoscopy and biopsy for the positive patient, and we were able to show a 91% sensitivity and 82% specificity, which is a really good performance right now that we continue to improve. The commercial strategy is to launch this test as a lab-developed test product. This is the most capital-efficient way to launch this technology. We'll get million sample from patient at home or in clinic, ship it out to our centralized lab, and then in the future, when we have more volume, we're gonna go with the FDA clearance. There has been a lot of development for urine-based diagnostic for bladder cancer. But just to be clear here, there are few FDA clearance urine tests that are actually getting some traction. Eurovision fish by Abbott was approved in 2001, like 23 years ago, and then bladder EpiCheck was approved last year in 2023. However, if you look at the sensitivity and specificity of these tests, it's basically still sensitivity in the 60%, which means that there's still a lot of false positive and actually lead to more unnecessary cystoscopy. So we'll see that this is an unmet clinical need that a novel and high-performing urine-based test could solve. Looking at reimbursement, this is actually one of our core strengths. One of our independent board members is a global head of reimbursement at QIAGEN, and we looking at the landscape really closely. There already been positive local coverage determinations for urine-based tumor marker with the same intended use that we are going after. We would pursuing our own code and looking at the landscape, this gonna be a pricing of between $700 to $1,000 tests compared to predicate device. And the market for oncology diagnostic space is actually fast growing based on number of factors. Just bladder cancer monitoring alone is a $1 billion, and if we expand it to other kind of urologic oncology, it could be a $4 billion market. And then we are super excited to have the support from urologists in different care settings, both from academic medical center where we create the technology to community practice where majority of the patients are being seen at. So we're developing clinical guidelines with these urologists and launching trial. We have a trial of 200 patients that is ongoing at Dana-Farber and Brigham and Women that had really promising readout. Happy to follow up with any of you with more interest. Looking at IP protections, Cellens is an academic spin-out, so we license exclusive IP from Tufts University. That's where I met my technical co-founder when I was in Tufts School of Engineering. We already got IP secure in the US and Canada, already had issued patent, and we continue to pursue it in number of country as well. Again, going back to the first story that I tell you, this is a platform technology. Bladder cancer is just the first product, but this could work on other type of epithelial cell where we could get the sample from non-invasive manner, such as cervical cancer or colorectal cancer. We had demonstrated some proof of concept data on cell line showing that this method could apply to other type of indication as well. And super excited that Cellens had been able to extract both non-dilutive and dilutive funding over the past 2.5 years that we started this company, $6.5 million from the NIH and NSF and the Mass Life Science Center. Last year, we closed about $1.5 million in convertible note from early stage VC such as SOSV, CDL, and just very recently, the fund from the American Cancer Society had been one of our investors. And also, next week, we're going to announce our strategic R&D collaborations with Bruker. It's a publicly traded life science company that we are very excited about the ability to scale. Thanks so much for having me. We are a team that had what it takes to bring this product to the market. Thank you so much.